Those type of investments may or may not pay off. When you invest in yourself, the payoff is always something that gets richer with time. It builds upon itself with greater and greater understandings of who you are. Financial investments are of this world and will remain in this world when you are released from it. If you can't take it with you, it's just an illusion and only of this world. The investment of your time in remembering why you came here and following through on it is a return on your investment that survives death. You take what you learned and who it is you became because of it. All right, great. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So do we have questions?
Kathy's here. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Joy.
Great, you guys.
No questions or comments yet. Well, we had a comment on the blog post.
Right. We had Teresa left a comment about this post, and you want to go ahead and read that, Ray?
Sure. Teresa said this morning, Linda, I love this. It's such a great reminder and also a validation for me of what I'm actually doing right. Lots of room for improvement, though, but at investing more than that 20% in the past few years in myself. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about things just continuing to improve regarding my spiritual growth. Thank you so much.
Yeah, because what they mentioned, the guides mentioned in this insight, they said that you need to take, was it 20% of your time or money? No, 10% of your time and 20% of your money, I think is what they said, to invest in you in this world. So let's say you have a family or you have grandkids or whatever you have. You've got, all these things you do and they expect you to do. Your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever. Okay, they all expect you to be there for them and you're part of the family. So that's, you should, you're there. This is your family. You should spend time with your family in a quality way. But you should not forget about your investment in you. And as you're moving through it, and I can't help but bring this up. This is the companion journal to Guided, my flagship book. It's this book where when you go back and you take the journey back into your life and you look at the parts where you feel like you're getting hung up. Some people they're stuck right in fear, or they're stuck in having some kind of rebellious attitude or compromised in their life where they feel like they compromised and they keep doing that. They keep compromising. So their family doesn't really respect them because they're constantly compromising and going along with it, but they're really not present. They'd rather be doing something else, but they don't even know what it is. So it's kind of like things get all tangled up. You go back and you take you go through some of these chapters and hopefully all of them to bring yourself back because, that's really what gets us in this mess. And we get overweighted in this world, the physical world, and we forget about where we came from and who we are. We forget about the connection we have and all the help we have, and that we're not alone like we feel sometimes in this world, So it's really about moving back into this, getting this back again, bringing it all together so you're present and you're collected. You are present and you are conscious, You're not missing what's going on. What ensures that is in part 3, through your day-to-day life. You write down those glimpses of guidance, that inspiration that you don't know where that thought came from. Write it in here, because as you continue to write it into part 3 and watch the chronological order of this going on, underlying what's going on in your day-to-day life, okay, all the distractions and the noise, you start to see how this is coming back and serving you. And now you can bring them together. That's when your life really gets interesting. What do we have? Great.
Well, we have a new person. Christopher, welcome. Joy had a comment.
Great.
If we do not spend time and money on ourselves, investing in yourselves, then nobody else will either.
That's right, Joy. That makes a good point.
And then Kathy says, I never really thought about all the money and time I have put into spiritual classes and training as an investment, even though it has all changed my life and my quality of living exponentially for the good. I will now look at that time and money in a totally different light. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's a commodity. It's your time, and that's the only thing everybody has the same amount of.
So, Ray, what did you come up with around this? Ray, you know, he does this with me. We channel these insights together. And Ray's actually the one that speaks out their messages, okay, and then I type it out. So Ray's part of this. And so what do you have, Ray?
Well, one part in the insight today that you didn't read, it talks about it's just like learning anything else.
Yeah.
If you want to learn something, how do you do it? Well, you read up or you go take a class, like when you took dream classes.
Right.
If you want something badly enough, it says you will find the time and the money to take it. So you can't say I don't have the time and the money to
That's
learn.
what Kathy just talked
Right.
about.
So you have the time and the money, you take the class. However, most people only equate taking classes so they can make more money.
Right. See, Kathy, when you took those classes and you said, or you went to those spiritual events
Sure.
or seminars or whatever, when you did that, you didn't think of it like, I want, what's in it for me, you know, kind of thing, like financially. I can't take that class if I'm not going to make money at it because I need to make more money. I mean, it's a constant rat race where we're chasing just in this world, where we're just in this world, and we forget about the rest of us, you know? Yeah.
Well, plus nowadays, suppose you don't have the money to go take a class, to go to a seminar like that, but there's no excuse for not learning about what you want to learn about because everything's on the internet.
That is no kidding.
Whatever you want to become an expert at,
oh my God.
if you study a half hour a day on whatever it is you want to be an expert at, if it's a tomato gardening,
right.
If you do that a half hour a day in 1 year, you'll be a world expert in tomato gardening.
You'll be way up there, that's for sure.
It's like 3 college degrees in tomato gardening.
And it's current. You know, when people go to college, as soon as they graduate from college, what they learned is obsolete. That's how fast the world is moving. You know,
they don't even get a chance to apply it.
Right,
mm-hmm.
Right. So, Ray, what do you have?
Well, I have some comments. Let me see. Any more questions? No.
Bring them in. Bring the questions
in. Come on,
guys.
don't be bashful.
This is Linda's weekly guided insights. The one investment that always pays off. That's what we're talking about tonight.
The investment in yourself. Okay. So I have a big perspective on investing. The big picture. I was a professional investor. They may not know that for 9 years.
Right.
And had my ups and downs and certainly put a lot of money into it.
And time.
I mean, I used to get up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning to make the opening of the marketplace, you know, stumble out of bed, wake up. So the rules of investing your money kind of apply for investing your time too. It's the same rules, you know, and the same pitfalls.
Keep going.
All right. How much do you put in?
How much of what?
Money or time. Doesn't really matter. How much do you put into any investment?
Right.
You put time and money into it. But if you put in too little, then your return on investment is going to be very low and you'll get disappointed. But if you go all in, you know, that causes a lot of stress.
Right, because
and ulcers.
You had to neglect and stop doing a lot of these other things.
Right, because now you have to devote more time because you have a bigger risk on the line. You have to devote more time. And the problem with going all in all of a sudden, or at first, is it's driven by greed.
Okay, now you're talking about financial investments.
Right.
How does that play out with personal self-help, self-growth investments?
You have to start in, like the guide said, you have to start in gradually. 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day.
Otherwise, if you're overweighted in this, okay, the stock market and all that, investments is of this world. Then there's this world, you, the person that if you overdo it over here, you're going to feel seriously neglected over here.
Right.
Okay.
I knew a guy who had to go to some kind of a seminar, a personal development seminar, every weekend, all year long. And he spent all his money doing that.
And why did he do that?
I don't know, because I think he needed the hype. I think he needed the charge, the excitement of being there physically and everybody rah-ing.
Well, here's my take on that.
Mm-hmm.
He in this world, okay, he was like full on in this world. What did he do?
He had his own business and he was
There you
successful.
go. Okay, and he was successful, but it was sucking the life out of him.
Right.
So by the time Friday hit, he was dragging both legs.
Plus, he had all of his money in his own business. He had it all on the line.
Okay, so he was overextended,
Right.
is what he was in this world. So he was so under so much pressure from all of that he was like a manic depressive. He was, all in over here, a maniac 5 days of the week, and then he went over here and he was a maniac for the whole week, trying to get his self back so he could tolerate another week of abuse in this world. Okay, that's what he did.
Yeah.
He was so used up and exhausted from his world over here that he put himself through way too much, even though he was successful.
You're right. It was the rest of that week. I never thought about it this way, but he would go to these seminars on the weekends, and I would see him every Monday night at our poker game. He would just be all charged up and rah-rah and telling everybody about how great it was and this, that. I never saw him at the end of the week.
Right. He was out of gas.
It
took everything he had to get through that week.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had to go back out and get recharged.
Boy, that's interesting. Okay.
So when you catch yourself doing that, you guys, being manic with it is also, at least he did this. Okay. He took himself and he got himself what he needed on the weekends. But if we're so manic in both worlds, that's not the answer either,
You can't go all in one way or the other, or not enough or too much.
He was learning balance.
Right. Yeah. Balance.
He was.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Another observation on the how much, how often, is a little daily. When you're investing in yourself, a little bit of time every day, a little bit of money if you're spending, saving up to go to a seminar.
Right.
Or buy books. That'd be another thing. That's money.
That's
investment.
an inexpensive way to write.
Right. A book like Guided. There's some shameless promotion right there. A little bit daily is the best place to start. That's a good starting point.
That's right. And here's what.
And when do you put more in?
Right.
When you start to see results.
Right. What happens here, what the guides talk about in working with this journal, start with 15 minutes a day. That's what they recommend. So you, like Ray said, you just create that one part of your day. I'll tell you what my favorite part is, and it could even be this, where when you wake up in the morning and you just let yourself slumber in that twilight between this world and the world that you're in, the one that you went to all night, okay, and just let that kind of just float. Don't think about what you have to do and your list of things to do that day and stuff. And just let that time be your sacred time. Start with that, okay? And then you may not know what happened when you did that. And then you get up and, you go to the bathroom, you go to the kitchen, and then you go to your desk or whatever you do. And all of a sudden, it just comes through, okay? And you get this idea, okay, that's guidance, you guys. It's being fed to you. It's not from you. It's through you that the guides are sending this. And you get these really great insights, or something just comes through. And then you go out and you actually look into it. You're on your computer and you look into it, and you follow the urge. You don't say, oh, I'll think of it later. I'll do it later. I don't have time right now. I got to call the client and okay, no. You've got to create that time, knowing, anticipating that it's going to produce results, like I just said, and harness that, okay, and write down what that was. If you can't get to it right then, go into part 3 and write down what It was. And then just say, I'm going to get to this. I'm going to put my book down and I'm going to get to this after I make that phone call. That way you don't lose it. Okay. But pay attention to it. Pay attention to those moments where it's always easy when it comes through. It feels like it came from you. All right. But you're going to know it didn't. You weren't thinking about that. It wasn't on your list of things to do. It didn't come out of your head. It came through you, all right? So start capturing those because you're not used to it. You're not used to living in two worlds at the same time. And that's what this is all about, these teachings I do. It's about getting you guys to pull yourself back into this world, wake it back up, uncover it, okay? So that you are now in one piece and you're not dragging a leg through this life. No wonder people feel disconnected. They are, you know. So what do we have, Ray?
Okay, Kathy had some follow-up comments here. She says, I never went to these seminars, things like that, to make money.
Right.
I guess that's why it made such a difference in my life. That's good. And then she said about my friend, he may have been successful financially, but bankrupt spiritually. See,
right.
I saw that, she saw that, but he didn't see that. He thought he was a very spiritual guy because he was going to all these things.
I'll tell you what about this guy, though. He was manic, and he was out of balance, and he was struggling, like most people don't. Okay, he really struggled to keep the two, all right? And even though, yeah, he was spiritually bankrupt, Kathy, he took action. He took action, and it may have been, you know, he was manic over here and manic over there, but, you know, at least he did it. He came out with something with it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Kathy has a good comment about the time that you invest in yourself.
Okay,
good. On the spiritual path. If you feel you don't have time to read a book, listen to an audiobook while you're driving back and forth to work, or while you clean the house, or while you do the grocery shopping.
Perfect.
And walk your dog and exercise. You can always listen to an audiobook.
That's why they're popular, right, Kathy?
Yep.
Yeah.
I know somebody who sells more audiobooks than any other thing.
I know.
Any more than Kindles.
I know.
Yeah. She listens to Guided while she's driving back and forth to the hospital when her mom was sick. There's always a way to find time.
Right, right.
Yeah, you don't have more time, but when you start looking at the time you have, you start finding the time wasters.
You know, I've got to say this one story. This is a great story. I was driving up north, and I was going through, I guess, Nevada, and then up through Idaho, and I was going to Sun Valley. Is where I was heading. And I was listening to an audiobook. This was back in 2002. I was listening to an audiobook, and I'm on the drive. And I was so, you know, there. I was just like devouring every word that was coming through. It was fascinating what they were talking about, and it was a long audiobook. It was probably 25 hours overall, like different parts of the book. And I missed my turn and lost and got off track over 150 miles before I realized.
You made the wrong turn.
Before I realized I made the wrong turn. I was so into this book, all right? I don't remember the name of it, but it was one of those stepping stones in our lives, right? And I was just really connected to this, so focused. So you got to watch out when you're listening to those audiobooks.
Especially if you're driving in Texas, that could be like one exit, 150 miles.
Guided would be one of those books that could take you on a journey like I just explained. You just don't even know. In fact, I've heard people tell me that they did the exact same thing I did, listening to Guided while they were driving on a long trip. So it can happen. It's that's how connected you get. You know, it's amazing.
No new comments. Right. I had a couple more comments. Yep. What happens when you get out of your investment too early? Okay, getting out too early in a financial investment is the equivalent of giving up too soon.
Leaving money on the table.
Well, giving up too soon in your personal development, in your personal investment, too soon, before you realized your maximum potential.
Okay,
so you could have gotten out of it.
Yeah, you know, or that you could have what your return would have been, is what you're saying.
Right.
All right. So where you tie that into your personal growth, and here you are in your path to learn these things, and then you run into some things where it's a real challenge. Something comes up in your personal growth that you didn't expect, and it doesn't feel so good. When we go through the process, we find out about just how much our ego is involved in our lives, and then when we recognize it, we are embarrassed that we're letting that happen, stuff like that, right? Or if there's something that we realize, when you start to grow spiritually, you start to see things for what they are. So then you look at your family and you go, well, excuse me, but these guys are seriously flawed. I can't just go along with what, little Petey just said and let him linger down a road of confusion, just where he gets more and more lost, your son or your little grandkid. I can't let him do that when I can see what he's doing. Now, had you not taken those steps to become more awake, more alert, more observant, Petey might have gone on just about his own business, and you would have left it alone because you really weren't present. You didn't notice it too much, and whatever, he'll grow out of it. That type of attitude, then I don't know. It's not enough for me. I can't walk around in unconscious stupor, But then you start to see everything else around you for what it is, and that's a whole different reality, you guys. All right. Now you're not so sucked into this world, and this is all there is, and you've got this other perspective. You can see what's really going on in this world from this true self of you, that this person you really are, this person who's waking up, okay? So it does change your life. And the people in your life will notice it, and there's nothing you can do about that. It's going to reshuffle the deck in your life.
So what causes people to give up too soon when they're working on this improvement spiritually? They're trying this, they're trying to be a better person, they're trying to learn this or that, and they give up too soon.
Because they're overweight. They're overweighted in this world. Their ego is overstimulated. It's making the decisions for the person, and it's actually looking at the real person that's kind of hanging back, waiting for you to be ready. Okay, and it's looking at this, and it's not pushy. This part of you, the part of you that came into this world, that's the real you, isn't loud. It's not pushy. It's patient, and it waits for this part of you to get worn out, for this part of you to wake up, for this part of you to feel the emptiness, the void. Okay, it waits for you to be ready, and then when you start to feel, exhausted and worn out, it just by the fact that you start to realize it, and your ego can't convince you that this is all there is, this starts to come back to you. It's a natural process. It's like the safety. It's safe to come back now. That kind of feeling. You guys all know how this feels. You remember it from when you were a little kid.
How did you invest in yourself when you were a little kid?
Oh.
When you first come in? A new person.
Okay, the way I did it is I experimented with everything I could get my hands on. My guides pointed things out to me. I didn't have to do them. I could have passed on it, but I mostly went there, all right? And I was doing things and going off here and learning about this, and I just let that urge that take me in that direction. That was me, the real me, that was playing in this life, playing, learning, growing, okay? Not somebody here that's judgmental, somebody that says, you'll hear little kids go, no, you can't do that. I'm not allowed to do that. You can't do that either. And the other little kid will go, you're not the boss of me. I can do what I want. And I'm going to go do that. That would have been me. All right. So I went ahead and did those things. Yeah. Sometimes I fell down, or it didn't work out, or I hurt my hand, or whatever happened. But I was all in. Okay.
Plus, little kids have all their time to themselves. They don't have big demands on their time.
They don't, Ray. They don't.
They have
So you
time to
go
experiment.
right, and you go back to that part of you, like Kathy was talking about. She didn't expect any ROI. She went to her personal development classes, and she came back with so much more wonder and feeling like she mattered. Okay, like now I matter to me. It doesn't matter if anyone notices that I'm important or that I matter to them. I matter to me, and I'm liking it, and I'm tracking it, and I'm writing it down so I never get lost again. All right.
Plus, the difference between investing in yourself and investing in the markets or investing in something where it's greed driven.
Right.
Is you're never going to, on the money side, you're never going to feel like you're done.
Ray knows this really well.
Because you always want, oh my gosh, I left money on the table. I sold too soon. Selling too soon can cost you a lot.
Well, see,
right?
Getting out too late will cost you everything.
Well,
okay, so you see? So it's about balancing this stuff all out, you guys. By the way, he doesn't do that anymore.
I don't.
Mm-mm.
No.
Why don't you, Ray?
Well, it's too stressful. I don't like to lose money. No, I didn't lose money every day. I made a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I lost. I got out too soon. I got out 6 years too soon on one.
See, he still.
Well, yeah.
You see how that is?
Okay. It's like the gamblers.
You don't feel like that when you invest in yourself.
Right.
Because when you invest in yourself, it is compounding. You don't leave anything on the table. You have exactly what you can learn, what you're able to connect with at that particular time in your life. And as soon as you really absorb what that is and connect with that and take action on that, see, it's all in the action, you guys. If you don't apply it, you squandered it. You might know about it. You might be able to talk about it. But how did it change your life? How does it make you more? All right? That's what it's really all about. So, yeah.
Getting out too soon. Okay. The other thing about investing in
that would be like giving up on yourself
too soon.
When you didn't understand the concept so much, maybe you needed to go, instead of going to that seminar, you needed to go to a different one instead. You didn't just give it all up. That would be the equivalent to personal development. Okay, and investing in yourself. In other words, if you do something, you go to a class and it's about I don't know, anything. It's about learning how to. I have not gone to them. I've never gone to personal development classes. I've read books, but I've never gone to the personal development. I only went to one. It was a Tony Robbins seminar that I was invited to go to for free. And it was the most ridiculous thing I ever did.
It's like a waste of, you even had to drive all the way to San Antonio.
It was so rah and hyped up and nonsense. It was just like, I don't need that, the one time I did go, but anyway.
Like you need something to hype you up, give you more energy? I don't think so. So getting back to the quitting too soon on your own self-development.
Right.
I mean,
giving up. Here was my point. If that class or that seminar on, say, taking dreams, learning how lucid dreaming or whatever, and it didn't connect with you, you just didn't get it. It's just not something you want to do. Going to a class on massage therapy might be the perfect thing for you. You go there and you go, oh my God, I found my calling. I love this and I can't wait to do this again and learn this. And you love to do it, all right? So you just keep trying new things until you find out what that is. But don't give up, right? Don't sell too short.
Don't sell short.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who, let's say, I want to be more spiritual, I'll go take a yoga class. I think a lot of the things are very difficult when you take a yoga class. And you're sore. Oh no, I can't do that. And you quit.
Well, that's just one. You go try something else. That's all. Just don't give up. All right. Just keep moving through it, because I'll tell you, everything that you try, you won't. Not all of it's gonna be exciting and great. It's gonna hit that trigger in you, but when you do find it, it's going to be, it makes it all worthwhile. It makes it all worthwhile.
You eventually find something, or you read a book, you read something that really strikes a chord. And you want to read more like that.
Right. That would have been my choice right there.
Mine too. Like after I read Guided, read your other 4 books. And,
right. See? Exactly. It's true.
I'm the guy that read them all. Let's see here. Nope, no new questions or comments.
All right. So you guys, we got this thing, huh? You always hear me say this when I do a coaching session. You got this, right? And then when you say, well, and I go, okay, we have more work to do.
One last comment.
Yes.
Just like when you're investing in the stock market, you keep all these charts and graphs and spreadsheets and stuff. The best way to track your spiritual growth is what? Right.
Yeah, that's right.
My guy's journey.
This will do it. In fact, we have videos that back up every chapter to help guide you. It's a guided journal writing system. So you're not doing this alone. You have help as you move through each chapter. It's not just a book, okay?
If you don't write down your little wins, someday you might make $1,000. Other days you might make $50.
Okay, that's the financial equivalent. Right.
If you don't put your little wins,
right,
don't write them down, and see what you did.
See the progress.
See the pattern.
Right.
What did you do right before that, or in the weeks before that caused you to learn that?
You guys, if you do what Ray's talking about, if you follow your progress and you diligently write down the guidance that's coming through, the feeling you got, the inspiration you had, the dream you had, and you keep writing it into part 3. That's part 3, the journal writing. And you keep doing that, and you do that diligently for just 1 month. You date it, and you answer all the little questions in there that are in there for each one of these. You will be so far ahead. You will be so excited about your life again. All right?
All right, Kimberly Williams joined us. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi, Kimberly.
She says, hey.
Great artist, by the way. Great artist.
Oh, wonderful artist.
Oh, man.
Beautiful stuff.
We watched that video.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I've been sitting for 15 minutes a day or more asking my guides questions, but they haven't been saying anything back to me at all.
Okay, that's because what you need to do is write those questions down that you're asking. You need to ask one question. I'm going to tell you that this is what you need to do to start. You need to write that question in part 3. And when you're done writing it into part 3 and dating it, you need to close it up and go, okay, my guides have that. No more questions. Don't keep asking questions or even thinking of them. That way, when the answer comes through, you'll recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you only asked one question. When you go to bed at night, you look at the question you wrote down. You look at it before you go to sleep. You read it. You close your book. You put it next to your bed with your pen. And you close your eyes. And you say that, you ask that question 3 more times, quietly and slowly, as you drift off to sleep.
And how do you formulate that question?
You lead it with why. Why, da-da-da-da-da-da. That's your question. If you do what, where, when, and how, you already have an agenda.
You already thought about the answer.
You've already come up, you've got some outcome in mind. When you ask a why question, it's not an agenda. When you ask why, there's no agenda. You don't have an outcome in mind because you don't know. You're asking why. Okay, so lead it with a why and only ask one question. Write it down, read it before you go to sleep, and take it with you when you drift off.
You used to be an expert at asking questions, and every question you asked started with why when you were a little kid.
It's the first things that those were the first words you started with. Why this? Why that? Why mommy this? Why daddy that? Why? You drove them crazy with why. Okay, but it's the child is a genius. All right, you were a genius. You still are. Lead with the why.
Oh,
and you will find it.
Kimberly did ask him today. She couldn't find her glasses. She asked Spirit's guides where her glasses were, and she found them on top of her head.
Okay, Kimberly, you. All right, that's priceless. Just remember that, you guys, one question at a time. Why questions? Lead with why. As you begin. As you get more sophisticated with this, you don't have to always ask with the why question. But as you start and you begin, you need to do that because you're not used to this. That's all. You know all this stuff. You're just going to remember it back into your life again. That's how you're going to get yourself back again. All right. So we're going to close this session with their closing message tonight. But before they do that, I'm going to talk about tomorrow, Wednesday, April 24th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. I will be performing a live coaching session right here on my Facebook page, Linda Deir, author. Using my latest book, My Guided Journey, the companion journal to guide it, experience what a one-on-one coaching session with me is like. It's going to be powerful. I'm going to have Viola this week.
All the way from the other side of the world.
Yeah, from the Netherlands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before the spirit guides bring through their closing message for today's insight, we want to let you know about next Tuesday, April 30th. Join me live right here on Facebook, Linda Deir, author. This will be a Q&A and commentary with me and my spirit guides at 6 p.m. Pacific time, so don't miss it. In Linda's weekly guided insights, my spirit guides will be talking about when you miss the guidance. Why is it that most people miss our guidance? We are broadcasting it to you all the time, and there are certainly times each day where the guidance would have made your life a lot easier. What do you think of in the morning as soon as you wake up? For most people, it's their list of what they have to do that day while trying to put them in order so they can actually get it done in the time that they have. If you run out of time by the afternoon or early evening, you just keep working and working until you drop over dead tired. This is how you miss the guidance. Over time, this repetition makes you feel like a robot. To keep you sharp, use your journal to keep a record of your guidance. This is why I wrote this book, you guys. This was a work in progress for over a year with the early adopters, of My Guided Journey. They were the readers of Guided, and they came to me and they wanted to know unanimously, how do I make the connection to my spirit guides and angels? After reading Guided, they understood that this is definitely a possibility for them. They felt it. And that's how this came about. It came about through me, through guidance, and through the group that we worked with each week on Facebook Live for 18 weeks. That's the 18 chapters in part 2, where you take the journey, okay?
You know, there was, back when it was in beta test mode, when we just had the raw material, basically the writing part, there was over 200 people who worked with that, with us, to fine-tune what this book is now.
Right. That's right.
You could have put it out like it was, but...
Right. So that's an interesting point, is what Ray's talking about is I had already drafted the book, and I went to publish it, and I got this feeling where, no. And I was like, what? I know I'm supposed to write this, and I know this is supposed to get out there. So what I did is I shelved it and went into this weekly Facebook Live with the early adopters of it, and we flushed it out. They'd come to me and they'd ask me questions, and Ray interviewed me every week and really pulled more out and pulled more out and pulled more out. And that's how this came about. This is well thought out. This is really fleshed out and beta tested. A book that's beta tested? Yeah. And there's 18 videos that are associated with each chapter to walk you through it so that you're not alone doing this. And then on Wednesdays, I'm on Facebook Live, and I'm here on Tuesdays, So anyway, Ray, are we ready to do the...
You sure are.
All right. So this stuff is fun, you guys. You know what it's really all about? It's about... Speaking of today's, just for one moment, I want to recap here. The one investment that always pays off. I don't know, you guys all see this world. We're all getting more technologically dependent. And robotics are kicking in. And people's jobs are going away, especially the redundant type of jobs, okay? So what's going to be left in this world? There won't be any jobs for a regular person to go after. So you need to go after what's something technology can't beat you at. Okay, that's almost how you have to think about it. The one thing that technology will never beat you at is the real you, who you are. Okay, the person over here that learned how to adapt to this world and function in it, tooled for it. Okay, that person, a lot of the jobs, a lot of those opportunities are just going to go away. So what are you going to do with yourself? What's next? Well, what's next is you. That's what's next. That's where the robots and the computers and the technology, it can't think like that. It can't feel that. It doesn't have a soul. It doesn't have that. That's what you have. So you figure out how you're going to take that. You hear me on this? That's where your opportunities reside in your future. It's not in going to school and getting, learning to do this and that. Technology and computers and all that, it's taking over. It's already going to replace those jobs.
When a company hires somebody, I don't care what level it's at,
right?
The goal in hiring that person is to obsolete them as quickly as possible.
How do you know that, Ray?
I worked for 2 big Fortune 50 companies, and that's exactly how they think.
And he was a recruiter for how long?
Almost 25 years.
And he saw it. He saw the revolving door, and that person thought that was a career for the rest of their life, and there's no such thing. And it's been happening more and more and more. So what you want to do is you want to connect Kimberly, your art, okay, that kind of thing, okay, and Kathy, your spiritual work, that kind of thing, your Reiki, I can't see a robot doing Reiki, Kathy, all right, or whatever that mix is that you're going to come up with. Kathy's going to come up with a mixture. It won't be just one thing. It's going to be like your method, So that's what you guys need to think about. You need to think like that, and you need to help your kids think like that and your grandkids, because the kind of jobs that we all used to have offered to us, they were basically, a lot of them, slavery jobs. They were jobs that you dreaded, and you did it just for the money. Those days are dissipating fast, okay? But what do you do now? You bring this part of you back, the part of you that finally has a place in the world. That's what this is, all right?
I mean, robotics has taken over so much of the industrial side of the business, but artificial intelligence will wipe out a huge segment of the working populace.
Absolutely right. That's exactly right. We can ask questions about that in some of our, in the next Insight on next Tuesday, and the one after that, because we're going to get into that, all right? So we want you guys to think about this. We want, between now and then, we want you to think this through. Read some articles about AI, artificial intelligence, and robotics and stuff like that. And get your head around it. This is no longer just a playtime on the weekend. This is your life. And guess what? You can actually have your life now if you plan this right, if you position yourself right, all right? Let's let the guides close this. With that recap in mind, let's let them close this session on the one investment that always pays off. And here they go.
Investing in yourself is the only safe investment. the more you invest, the more wins or little breakthroughs you will have and see in your life. Be careful you don't sell out too soon. That is when you hit your first breakdown.
Yeah.
Because you can't have a breakthrough until you have a breakdown. It's a cycle, like planting a seed. You don't go out the next day and see a plant or flower popping up out of the ground. You can't ever force a plant or flower to grow faster. You can water it and fertilize it, but you can't make it grow faster. So, don't give up and keep feeding your soul.
That's right. That's exactly right. So as you grow through this, as you learn about yourself, as you come back into the picture, because it's always a very gentle thing. It comes back, it eases back in, all right? As this starts to cool down a little bit and it's not so dominant, okay, where this goes and retreats, okay? That's what's going on here. So don't let this get scared. I think that's what I'm really trying to say here. Being in this world can scare you, all right? There's times when it does, and it really does. Don't let this cool down, let this come back, and they'll start to trust each other again, okay? That's what it is, you guys.
You're always living in two worlds.
You always have been. That uneasiness lets you know that you're dragging a leg. You're missing you, okay? So that's what this is all about. It's about bringing it back into balance, all right? We had a lot of different examples tonight. We had something come up there, Ray. I saw it. Mm-hmm. Examples come up tonight that, and it really does come back to the balance. Cool down over here so this can come back in.
Just a lot of reviews on your performance tonight. Some thumbs up and some thank yous. And
great, you guys, great. And we'll be here tomorrow night with Viola, same time, same place.
Working through the
journal. You're gonna see it in action.
Yep.
Okay. So try to join us, and then we'll see you next Tuesday. It's getting interesting. Think about that retooling, how you can finally fit yourself in, and what that's creative. What that looks like in this world. You can finally come out.
And keep asking those why questions.
Yeah, always the why. Yep, and write them down.
That's it.
Okay, you guys.
See you tomorrow night.
Good night.